All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we're taking a deep dive into something that's really electrifying the world. China's electric vehicle market. We've got reports, predictions, analyses, and whoa, some of these numbers are seriously futuristic. We're talking Chinese companies like XPeng and Huawei hitting the accelerator hard, while some of those big Western brands, well, let's just say they're eating dust.
It really is a fascinating, almost a textbook example of how quickly technology can completely change things.
Yeah.
What's going on in China, it's not just some minor changes. Like the whole auto industry is getting flipped on its head and fast.
Totally. So let's break it down. One report predicts that by 2025, EVs are going to be outselling traditional cars in China. We're talking over 12 million EVs versus, get this, less than 11 million gas guzzlers. And hold on, they're actually on track to hit their 50% EV target a whole decade early. What's fueling this electric surge?
It's a bunch of things, actually. You've got the Chinese government really pushing EVs with subsidies and incentives. But honestly, it's also the consumers themselves, especially the younger generation in China. They're drawn to the high-tech, the sleek designs, and yeah, the environmental benefits of EVs.
I see, but what about, like, the infrastructure? Can it actually keep up with all these people switching to electric? I mean, will there even be enough charging stations?
That's a really good point. And yeah, it's a challenge. China's investing a ton in building out their charging network. But keeping pace with this kind of growth is tough. On the other hand, it's also a huge opportunity for new ideas and investments. You're seeing companies developing things like ultra-fast chargers, even wireless charging systems.
Wow, so it sounds like the whole system is evolving to support this electric boom. But while the market's booming for these Chinese EV makers, it's also pretty competitive, right? The reports mention potential consolidation, weaker players getting squeezed out. Why is it so intense?
Well, first off, you've got this gigantic domestic market, China. It's the biggest car market on the planet. Then you have a flood of new companies jumping in, each one with their own strengths, their own strategies. Some are all about affordability. Others are pushing cutting-edge tech. And some are going for that luxury brand name appeal. It's like a race to stand out and grab as much market share as they can.
Sounds like a real battle royale.
Yeah.
And then you've got the established Western automakers trying to hang on to their piece of the pie.
Right.
But the numbers are not pretty. We're talking GM sales plummeting 57%, Nissan losing half their market share in 5 years, Honda taking a 31% hit in just 1 year. Ouch!
Yeah, it shows you exactly how tough it is for them right now. For years, they dominated the Chinese market with their big brands and those gas-powered engines, but they were slow to react to this EV wave, and now they're trying to play catch-up in a market that's moving at lightning speed.
So is it just about catching up, or are there bigger problems at play here?
Yeah. Well, some people argue that Western automakers got a little too comfortable. They were relying on their big names and those traditional models, and they've also been criticized for, maybe not fully understanding what Chinese consumers want, especially when it comes to technology and design.
Yeah, the reports mention that Chinese EVs tend to offer more advanced features, better tech experience, and all at a better price point. Is that a factor?
Oh, absolutely. Chinese EV makers have been quick to adopt new technology. Things like advanced driver assistance systems, really sophisticated infotainment systems, even over-the-air software updates. They're also using the strengths of their tech ecosystems, integrating with all the popular apps and services.
So it's not just the car, it's the whole connected experience. That makes a lot of sense. But let's zoom in on one specific example of this changing landscape. One report highlights XPeng's partnership with Volkswagen. Volkswagen invested a massive $705.6 million in XPeng. They're not just throwing money around, they're actually jointly developing new EVs together. With their sights set on international expansion, what's the strategy behind this alliance?
It's a really interesting move for both of them. For Volkswagen, it's a way to tap into XPeng's cutting-edge tech, especially their software and autonomous driving expertise. They're basically buying their way into a much faster innovation cycle.
And for XPeng?
Well, XPeng gets a huge influx of cash. But what might be even more important is access to Volkswagen's global manufacturing and distribution network. It's their chance to really ramp up their international ambitions.
So it's a win-win, at least on paper. But it also kind of shows how the power dynamic is shifting. We're seeing a Chinese company becoming a technology partner for a giant like Volkswagen. That's a pretty big deal, right?
It definitely reflects the changing times. It shows how Chinese companies are no longer just playing catch-up. They're becoming leaders in innovation, setting the pace for the whole industry.
It's like the student becoming the master. But before we get too carried away with Volkswagen, let's not forget about the other Western automakers. They're still trying to navigate this electric storm.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to watch how they react. Some reports say they're going all in on EVs, while others are kind of, sitting back and seeing what happens. But one thing's for sure, they can't ignore this shift anymore.
Yeah, it feels like we're at a turning point for real. So what happens if these predictions about China's EV dominance actually come true? One report even said that by 2030, 1 out of every 3 cars sold globally could be Chinese, with exports tripling to a crazy 9 million vehicles.
Yeah.
What kind of impact, like, on the world would that have?
Oh, it would completely shake up the global auto industry. We're not just talking about who sells the most cars, it's about who holds the power in the industry. That could totally change.
And what about beyond just the car world? The reports mention supply chains, manufacturing hubs, even like geopolitics. It seems way bigger than just cars, right?
Absolutely. It's about global economic clout and who's leading in technology.
If Chinese companies dominate EVs, it gives them a leg up in so many related areas, like battery tech, charging infrastructure, even things like smart city development. It's like a domino effect rippling through the whole global economy.
Exactly.
But let's bring it back down to earth for a sec. What about the average person who just wants to drive a car? How does this electric revolution change how we actually, drive and use our cars?
Well, for starters, the driving experience itself is different. Electric cars, they're known for that instant torque, which means super fast acceleration. They're also a lot quieter than traditional cars, which is a big plus in cities.
But what about people who love that, that roar of a powerful engine? Can electric cars ever give you that same feeling, that thrill?
It's a good question. It really depends what you're looking for in a driving experience.
Hmm.
Electric cars offer a different kind of performance. It's more about smooth, effortless power than loud noise. And as battery tech keeps getting better, we'll see even more range and better performance. It's closing the gap with those traditional vehicles.
So it's not about replacing one with the other.
Oh,
It's about appreciating what electric vehicles do well.
exactly.
And beyond driving, there are tons of potential benefits for everyday drivers. Electric cars need less maintenance, fewer moving parts,
Right.
and let's not forget about saving money on gas, especially with prices all over the place these days.
Definitely. Electricity is generally cheaper than gasoline, so over time, you could save a lot.
So lower running costs, less maintenance, a quieter ride, and that instant acceleration. Sound like a pretty sweet deal. But what about the tech side of things? The reports talk about Chinese EV makers going all out with the driver assistance systems and in-car entertainment.
Oh yeah, this is where they're really shining. They're packing in features like lane keeping assist, adaptive cruise control, even self-parking. And they're doing it at prices that are often more affordable than Western brands.
So it's not just for luxury cars anymore. Everyone can get access to this cool tech.
Exactly.
And then there's that whole connected car experience, right?
Right, Chinese EV makers, they're integrating cars seamlessly with phones and other devices. So you get features like remote control, real-time traffic updates, even over-the-air software updates. It's like driving a smartphone.
It feels like the tech world and the car world are becoming one.
They are, and it's opening up so many possibilities for new ideas. Some Chinese companies are even testing in-car entertainment systems that are like mini home theaters. Imagine watching a movie on a big screen while your car's charging.
That's wild. But let's talk about the environment for a minute. One report highlighted how much electric cars could reduce carbon emissions.
Yeah, that's a big reason why people are so into EVs. Electric cars don't have any tailpipe emissions, so they can really help with air pollution, especially in cities. And if we switch to a cleaner energy grid, the environmental benefits get even bigger.
Good point. We can't just think about the cars. The whole energy system matters. But what about batteries? Isn't there a concern about mining rare earth minerals and then getting rid of used batteries?
Those are valid concerns, absolutely. The industry is working on making battery tech more sustainable, including recycling programs to cut down on waste. It's a complicated issue, though. We need to make sure the shift to EVs doesn't hurt the environment.
So it's not perfect, but it's a step in the right direction. And as tech improves, we'll hopefully see even more eco-friendly solutions. But speaking of challenges, the reports also mention potential job losses in the traditional auto industry. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a real concern. Moving to electric vehicles means needing different skills and expertise. We'll need more engineers and technicians who specialize in things like batteries and software. Governments and industries need to work together to retrain workers and support those who might lose their jobs.
It's a good reminder that even exciting technological progress can have downsides. We need to be aware of the social and economic impacts. So this electric revolution, it's kind of a mixed bag. Lots of potential, but also challenges to overcome.
That's a fair way to look at it. It's complex, no easy answers. But change is going to happen, that's for sure. Those who adapt and embrace it are the ones who'll succeed in the long run.
So what does all this mean for the future of cars? Will we even be calling them electric cars in the future? Or will they just be dot cars?
Interesting question. As EVs become the norm, maybe that distinction will disappear. We might even see a mix of technologies. Maybe hybrids will bridge the gap. But one thing's certain, the car industry is changing dramatically. The next few years will determine which way it goes.
Yeah, it's like a crossroads for the whole industry. And while we've talked about the big picture, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, that super intense competition within China's EV market itself. The reports, some even use the word bloodbath to describe what's coming.
Yeah, it's definitely dynamic and, like you said, cutthroat. With so many companies fighting for a piece of the pie, it's a constant race to innovate and be different.
But isn't that a good thing for people buying cars? More competition usually means better products, lower prices, right?
Generally, yes. But in China, it's not just about having the cheapest car. Chinese consumers want it all: affordability, quality, performance, and all the latest tech.
So it's about hitting that sweet spot.
Exactly, offering something that ticks all the boxes.
So how are these Chinese EV makers trying to set themselves apart?
Well, one area where we're seeing a ton of innovation is battery technology. These companies are constantly pushing to get more range, faster charging, and longer battery life.
One report mentioned a company working on a solid-state battery that could double the range of EVs today. That would be a huge deal, wouldn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Solid-state batteries are like the holy grail of battery tech. They have so many advantages: more energy density, they're safer, and they last longer.
Wow. And besides batteries, what else are they focusing on?
Autonomous driving is another big one. Lots of Chinese EV makers are pouring money into self-driving tech. Some are already testing it out on real roads.
Sounds like China really wants to lead the way in self-driving cars.
They do, and they have some things working in their favor. For one, they have access to massive amounts of data because of their huge population and how much they use tech.
Makes sense. Data is like gold for AI development.
Yeah.
But what do people in China think about self-driving cars? Are they ready to trust the technology?
That's a good question. There's definitely excitement about what self-driving cars could do, but also, of course, some worries about safety and whether they'll really work.
It'll be interesting to see how people feel as the tech gets better. But let's not forget about design. The reports talked about how much emphasis Chinese EV makers put on style and looks.
Oh yeah, design is super important,
Yeah.
especially in such a competitive market. They're making cars that aren't just practical. They're really cool to look at, often targeting those younger, more stylish buyers.
Some of the designs are so sleek and futuristic, it's like they're getting inspiration from gadgets and even fashion.
Exactly. They get that a car isn't just transport, it's part of your image, your identity.
So it's a whole package deal. Technology, performance, design, user experience, it's all connected. It's like they're trying to make cars that are not just better, but cooler too.
You got it. And it seems to be working. They're getting attention not just in China, but all over the world.
Well, this has been a truly fascinating deep dive into China's electric revolution. It's definitely a story with global impact. It's changing everything we thought we knew about cars.
Yeah, and the story's not over yet. I'm sure we'll be talking about this again as things keep developing.
Thanks for joining us on this electrifying ride. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We've got more insightful explorations coming your way, so stay tuned. See you next time.